In this video, we're going to set up API Gateway to access a backend service that's running in Cloud Run. Now, we've already set up that backend service in Cloud Run and have that ready to go. To configure the API Gateway, the first thing you need to do is go to the API Gateway itself. Go ahead and click on API Gateway from the left nav. And you'll need to enable the various services. So go ahead and click Launch, and then click Enable. And in just a moment, API Gateway will be enabled. You'll also need to access the Service Control API, so go ahead and enable that as well. Once the dependencies are set up, you'll come to the main dashboard screen. And from here, you go ahead and click on a Create API to start the new API. Now the backend service we have is called To-Do. It's a To-Do REST API. So we're going to name this To-Do API. And then for the API ID, just put in anything that you want to be used for the URL. When you're ready, go ahead and click Create. On this screen, you can continue configuring the various components, but we're just going to skip this step for now and do this in another screen. So go ahead and click Skip. So back on the main screen, you see now we have our To-Do API set up. We can go into the main page and see some of the basic layouts of it with some of the reporting. Obviously, we don't have any traffic going to this yet. We haven't fully configured it, but we can see some of the high-level details. Go ahead and click on Configs, and you see we don't have any configs set up, nor do we have the gateways set up. Let's go set up a config. The config we're going to set up has a couple key elements in this. So a couple things to notice in here. Down here, we've got the address for that backend service I've mentioned. But we also have the path in that backend service that we want this to hit. This section here on line 11 talks about the URL of the API gateway itself that's going to route to that backend address. They happen to be the same here, but you may have something different. So let's go ahead and upload that config. I'm going to go ahead and browse. Select that API spec that you just viewed and click Open. For the display name, this is just what shows up in this UI. Go ahead and click anything that suits your needs. I'm just going to call it API spec. The service account that you choose is the service account the API gateway is going to use to access that backend service. Go ahead and click Upload, and in just a moment, we'll have the API config uploaded. We'll go and take a look. We see some high-level details on there. And then we can go in to click on the config file and see that same API YAML that we just reviewed. Now it's time to set up the gateway. The gateway is the backend proxy that's actually routing the config to your backend service. Go ahead and give it a name. I'm going to call it To-Do Gateway. What's nice about the gateways is you can put them in different regions. So I'm going to put this one in US Central 1. The config is going to be that to-do specification we talked about. And I'll go ahead and click Create. Now, I may want to access this from Europe as well. So let's go ahead and create another gateway. And I'm going to call this one To-Do Gateway EU. And of course, we'll put this in Europe West 1. And here we'll use the same config because we want this to go to the same backend. Back on the main screen, you can see it creating the two APIs. In just a moment, these backend gateways will be available. We can go in and take a look at them. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one in this US Central. You see we have the gateway URL listed. But if we go in and take a look at the API specification itself, you remember that in here, we specified the configuration to use a path variable. So just to verify, let's go in and see which path variable that was. The config file here says we're going to have a path of to-dos. So when we call this, we'll use the gateway URL plus the path to-dos to access that particular backend service. So there's the gateway and then to-dos. There's the backend service showing up through our gateway.